everyone, it's Grace and welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be reviewing the Vice Cosmetics Blurrfection Skin Tint. So I know this one has been out for quite some time, pero gusto ko muna siyang i-test multiple times, you know, under different sunscreens, different concealers, different setting powders, because may mga ibang bagay talaga na hindi nagtutugma. So, if you guys want to know my thoughts about the Vice Cosmetics Blurrfection, then please keep on watching. But please don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and let's get on to it. Hey everyone, it's Grace, and today I'm excited to film this video because I'm a sucker for skin tints. So may bagong skin tint or face product ang Vice Cosmetics, and this is the Blurrfection skin tint. Now I'm kind of 50-50 when it comes to face products by Vice. And base, as in yung foundation, powder, their blushes, bronzers, they're all amazing, but yung concealer nila didn't really work for me. It was way too dry, and then yung powder nila I did end up liking. So I'm excited for this one because I love skin tints. Mas skin tint ako more than foundation. I love having a bit of coverage, but I don't like completely masking my skin. So I think they currently have 6 shades. I have the second shade, which is Freshnezz LM01. This one is 395 pesos. It has macadamia oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower seed oil, and vitamin C. So I don't have anything on my face. I actually just put on moisturizer and sunscreen. I actually put a bit too much of sunscreen, so medyo nag-peel siya. It was peeling. So it didn't really come in any like box. It just came in sealed with a plastic. I was planning to get 2 shades, but I have a ton of base products and I can easily like balance my skin tone naman with a concealer or different foundations. So I just trusted the swatches dun sa store nila and just settled for Freshnezz. So ganito yung itsura niya. This comes with a nozzle. Ayaw mag-focus. Sige naman. And then I think this one would work. Looks like this. That's the shade. It's very yellow toned. Yeah, I think this one would work. Honestly, feeling ko medyo malaki yung talon niya from the lighter shade. This one matches my hands perfectly. But of course, iba. It feels really nice. It feels really light. So I'm excited. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my fingers today because usually that's how I like to apply my skin tints. Or maybe I'm gonna use half of my face with a brush. But for this side, my skin is actually pretty good. Lately, I just have this acne scarring here sa taas because my pimple just kind of healed. So, yeah. It feels light at the moment. So I'm hoping, yeah, although I'm kind of scared because my sunscreen was peeling earlier. I hope it won't, like, no, this is a skin tint. This is basically just what I want. You guys could see, like, it's very natural looking. It just evened out your skin. And I know maybe some people won't like it. Maybe if I try this like when I was, I don't know, 15, 16, I wouldn't like it just because I had more like things to cover. But this is basically just what I want. You guys can see it just evened out my skin compared to this side. So it first, when you started blending it in, it feels like I can definitely feel the oils. So it's very easy to blend, but now it's drying into a soft matte finish. So I feel like if you have dry skin, you do have to moisturize properly. Okay, so I'm gonna do this side with brush, or maybe I should do that another time. I think I'm gonna do that another time because I feel like I'm loving the finger method. Yeah, I just like the warmth of my fingers melting the product into my skin. So Okay, so this is one layer of the skin tint. You guys could see, you can definitely still see my skin. Like it's very natural looking, which I love. So yeah, I'm gonna see if this is layer friendly. May natira pang konti sa likod ng kamay ko. So I'm gonna see. Because yung mga ibang ganito, and the way that it was starting to dry, I'm not so sure if it's layer friendly. So lalagay lang ako ng konti on both sides kung ano lang yung natira. Oh yeah, this one has an SPF of 30. But regardless, I think you should still apply sunscreen separately. I cannot go without sunscreen. So yeah. Feels very, very light on the face. Like that. You guys could see it just evened out my skin really nicely. Very natural looking lang siya, which I like. So I'll just finish the rest of my makeup, put maybe a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so I'm done with my makeup, and so this is the Vice Cosmetics one, and okay naman, like everything kind of blended nicely. My powder, concealer. I also used a cream blush. This is the Squad Happy Pot kasi I was really scared na makaka-affect yung sunscreen ko dun sa skin tint just because I applied a bit too much. But so far, sobrang flawless niyang tingnan. It's a very natural looking skin tint. Now, I'm not so sure how this one would go with people that want more coverage because I've tried other local skin tints and yung mga iba medyo mas may coverage pa dito. But this is basically just what I want, something that will just even out my skin and not masking everything. So let's see kung paano to maglalast throughout the day, and I'll check back in. Okay, so 8 o'clock na, 8:09 p.m. and I haven't blotted my face, so medyo oily na siya. You guys could see. I'm gonna work out. I don't know if I should remove it or try it if it's gonna work while working out. So I've used this for maybe 2 weeks or coming to 3 weeks na kasi na-delay yung pag-film ko nitong thoughts ko. So I think they currently have 6 to 8 shades. I have the second lightest shade, which is Freshnezz LM01. Again, this is 395 pesos. So yeah, the first thing that I really loved about this, it's super lightweight, and it actually looks like a skin tint. I've used different skin tints. Alam ko na uso yon yung ano pa ba? I love the BLK one. I also like the Sun Glow by Fresh, yung kay May Layug, and di ba may May Layug and Ray Germar. I actually did like that. But to me, they're still not the skin tint. I would not call them a skin tint. Mas ano pa siya. It's like it's a lightweight foundation na medyo buildable. I don't think skin tint is the right term for them, but I do love them because they do offer coverage. This one is basically what it is. It's a skin tint. It really just evens out your skin. It balances it out. Nani. Basta yun, it really evens out your skin. Yung texture ng skin nyo medyo nade-diffuse siya. I don't know if it's the blurring properties. Of course, this one will not completely like blur out yung texture, but it kind of helps a bit, so it can act as a good base, you know, underneath your concealer, your blushes, and stuff like that. So I really like this one because it actually looks like skin. Next is also, it's very layer friendly. I do prefer using a brush and fingers to apply this one, since it is something that's super like sheer already. I don't like to use it with a sponge, and there's something about the formula of this one, maybe because of the oils, that if I use a sponge, it kind of nagtatalo yung dalawang formulas, water and oil, so it's not really working well together. So I would rather just use it with my fingers. If I want something na more sheer and just something very skin-like, I would use my fingers because the warmness of my fingers really melts the product onto my skin. If I want a little bit more coverage but I still don't want to use a foundation, then I would use a brush. So this one with the brush and fingers are my go-to. For a skin tint, this one actually lasts pretty well, but of course throughout the day, na syempre may konting fading, it's not a foundation. I use this a couple of times going to work. I go to work 2 times a week. So ito yung madalas kong ginagamit, and I just use different concealers, and it worked with a lot of my different concealers. I've used it with a BLK one. I've used it with the Get Ready With Me Radiance Tint, because those are my only 2 tints that I kind of bounce around. So okay naman siya with both concealers. I've used this from like 8:30 a.m. hanggang 9 p.m. minsan 10. I think the longest one I've used this was from 9 a.m. hanggang 2 a.m. And so far, okay naman siya. But of course, there is fading. But it fades really nicely though. Parang very ano lang. May konting fades really nicely. Hindi siya nagkukumpulan. So I do love this, but there are a few cons with this skin tint. First is the shade range. The shade range for me kind of feels off. Parang may kulang namang in between shades. Like for this one, this is the second lightest shade, and it works well for me, and I'm recovering from a tan. So it's actually lighter than this. So my skin is starting to get lighter na since July pa ako last nag-beach. So I'm recovering from a tan. So if this is the second lightest shade, I'm not so sure, you know, ano yung sunod. Kasi napapansin ko sa shade selection nila, medyo malaki yung hakbang from the previous, from the shades. So, I don't know, feeling ko kasi even with their powders before, I always have to pick up 2 shades just because I'm in between the shades. So, syempre medyo magasto siya. For this one, because I just really wanted to try it out, I just purchased one, and luckily, it worked well for me. So, yung shade selection, I hope they may isingit silang mga in-between shades and not just focusing on one undertone. I hope they cater to different skin tones na in-between yung shades. So, yeah. Now, as I said, this is layer friendly, but if you are gonna layer it, I suggest you layer it right away. Huwag nyo na siyang hintayin mag-set ng konti kasi medyo it sets pretty fast. So, once you blend it, since this one has macadamia oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower seed oil, so if you put it on top na once your face is kind of set, medyo ano na siya, you would see a little bit of separation. So, if you're gonna layer up this skin tint, make sure that ano mo siya, talagang, make sure you layer it right away para maiwasan nyo yung separation when you're layering. So, yeah, now, since we are, you know, we live in a very humid country, medyo lumalamig na nga, thank God. But then, we also have masks, so you tend to sweat. Now, this one is not sweat resistant, especially here. Ngayon na nakapatay yung electric fan and everything. Dito siya una nagfe-fade here. I mean, it happens with a lot of foundations and concealers, pero eto mabilis to. Like, alam mo yung kakaano nyo pala, tapos medyo papawisan kayo, magsa-separate na siya here, and I had to use a different base product in between using this one just to see the difference. And comparing it from my previous products that I've used, medyo mabilis talaga siyang mag-separate. So, it's not very sweat resistant. I've used foundations that still work well even if grabe ako magpawis. So this one is not really that. And for me, it's those times na alam kong I'll be sweating or it's gonna be a humid day that I don't like something heavy. So kaya ako siya magustong ganito. But then sadly, hindi siya sweat proof. So yeah, then lastly is, of course, this is a skin tint, and I do like it just because I like having my skin kind of seep through pa rin. I don't really like full coverage base products, and maybe for others they will find this kind of redundant na kasi wala siya masyadong dinadagdag for them if you want something that offers more coverage. So ayun lang. But for me, I do like this. I'm not so sure if I would completely or like fully recommend it, but if you're the type of person that just likes that clean girl look and something just very natural, then you would love this. But if you have already, like, if you just like spot concealing, honestly, if you that's my routine. I just like to spot conceal and just have the rest of my face kind of bare. But this one is a good base, but it's not something that is immediate that I would recommend that you go buy it right away. It's not the best thing, but I do like it because it kind of helps my base in a way. It's a good base for me. So yeah, I do like it, and it's up to you if you want to purchase it or not, especially with the inflation. It's up to you. So yeah, hope you guys like my review for the Vice Cosmetics Blurrfection Skin Tint. Again, please don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!